Wally West is about to give up his Flash powers. There's no way that a speedster giving up their speed will ever go wrong, is there? This is the Comicstorian channel where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering the story arc within The Flash following Infinite Frontier. You see, after everything that Wally West has gone through, from Heroes in Crisis in which he accidentally killed his best friend Roy Harper, to then being trapped in the multiverse trying to save the multiverse, he has now decided it is time to give up being the Flash. He finally has his wife and his kids back, and he wants to spend the rest of his days with them. He's decided to give up his powers and give them back to Barry. So with it being the end of the Flash, we have an entire video based around that concept. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider hitting subscribe, smashing that like button, and letting me know in the comments down below what your favorite part was, or just leaving a smiley face. And let's get into the issue with Flash 768. A lot can happen in the blink of an eye. 1 minute, you're just a normal kid. The next, you're fighting crime besides your hero. Or you've fallen in love, or you became a father, or a cautionary tale. Huge moments made up in seconds, blinks, which for normal people pass by with hardly a notice. But for the fastest man alive, and the time it takes to blink your eye, the whole world can change. As the Justice League stands there, staring at Wally West, Flash asks, "What do you mean you quit, Wally?" Wally responds, "I love being a hero. I love being a part of the League. But everything that's happened with Linda, the kids, Roy, I just can't do it anymore, Barry, and it's not fair to anyone." As Flash tries to think of something to change his mind, Green Arrow tells him, "Kid's right." Flash says he doesn't think, but Green Arrow stops him. "Look, if the kid is saying he's had enough, then he's had enough. Why would you want him to keep going, Barry? Do you want Wally to lose control again?" Flash stops him right there. "Okay, that's not really fair." And Green Arrow goes on, "No, it's not fair, but it's the truth, Barry. Fair would be Roy standing here instead of Wally, but he's not. So let him go. It's safer for everyone. Just wish we'd had this notion before what happened at Sanctuary. Before 10 people lost their lives, Wally." Superman interjects. "Wally, Green Arrow's wrong." And Wally responds, "Is he though?" Batman then goes on, "Whether Green Arrow is right or wrong, with the discovery of the Omniverse, we don't have time for heroes who are half in, half out. It'll only lead to disaster. I'm really sorry, but things are finally back to normal at home, guys. I just don't think I can be in the League. The kids aren't having nightmares anymore. We're all breathing a little bit easier. I want to keep it that way." Flash stops him. "It's okay. I get it. We'll figure something out. As long as this is what you want. If you need anything, Wally, just ask." Wally hugs Flash and he says, "Actually, there's one thing." The next day, Wally walks with Flash and Linda asks if he's sure about this. Wally says they talked about this. If he keeps his speed powers, he'll use them, and eventually, that'll put her and the kids in danger, and he can't do that again. Flash then says he can still change his mind. There's lots of things out there, but Wally tells him that he's had his fair share of adventures. It's time to concentrate on family and not be a Flash. Besides, it's not like he's going anywhere, just hanging up the super sneakers. Flash says to cut him off in the Speed Force, they'll be moving as fast as they possibly can. Wally laughs. "Can you keep up, old man?" "Well, I am the fastest man alive, Wally." The two get into their positions, and in an instant, they're off. They run through different cities around the globe, across oceans, and then finally into the Speed Force. Once they get a good pace, Flash asks if he's ready, and Wally says, "Yeah, let's do it." Flash mentally preps himself to assist with cutting Wally off, since this isn't the first time that he had to separate someone from the Speed Force before. People like Eobard Thawne. He just never thought that one day he'd be separating Wally West. And just as the Flash is about to get ready and disconnect Wally, something happens and there is a flash of light. Flash calls out to Wally, but the lights begin to pull at him until there's nothing left, and as Flash stops, the only thing left of Wally is his costume. He picks it up and he begins to run again, but he stops. And then he looks at himself asking, "Are my powers gone?" A short while later, after picking the Flash up, Green Arrow asks what does he mean by gone, and Flash tells him it's like he said. 1 minute he was about to sever Wally's connection to the Speed Force, and then next this surge of energy washed over them. Wally could be lost in the Speed Force, or Green Arrow stops him. Dead. Flash stares at the controls for a moment and then says that Wally is still out there. They'll have to find him and bring him back. He's already remotely prepping the Justice League lab. He'll need a tachyon emitter and the math to do the calculations, and he's going to need some help. Elsewhere, Wally groans as he finds himself in the middle of a forest wearing nothing more than a loincloth. He gets up asking if he lost his powers. Where is he? And as he looks up at the giant dinosaur, he realizes he's not in Kansas anymore. Oh boy! Over at the Hall of Justice, Flash says that he's spoken with Max, Jay, and Wallace, and they've all confirmed their powers have also disappeared. Green Arrow asks what does it mean, and then a voice tells him that something has severed their connection to the Speed Force. Flash looks back, welcoming Mr. Terrific, and Terrific says that he appreciates being asked to help. He loves problems of this magnitude. As everyone looks at the projector, Green Arrow asks, how do they know that Wally disappeared though? And Flash says because whatever happened, it didn't kill him. You can only assume the Speed Force took him. Green Arrow's stunned. Wait, can it do that? And Flash tells him there is a lot we don't know about the Speed Force. It's like a form of cosmic radio waves, invisible to the naked eye, but waiting to be picked up by the right conduit. And Wally, he has a special connection to it. Mr. Terrific says define special, and Flash says that he thinks that it may have chosen him, or at least is using him for something. Maybe it's rebooting. Green Arrow then says, or it's wounded. Animals, if they're hurt, they pull in on themselves, protect what they have, and maybe the Speed Force is nursing its wounds. Flash then says that could be why it wanted Wally, to help fix whatever's going on. Mr. Terrific says that if Wally is still connected to the Speed Force, and Flash says he can track him, let's get to work. Meanwhile, back with Wally, he looks at all the primal wildlife and asks if he's dreaming. Of course he isn't dreaming, he time traveled. He's done it 100 times before. Could really go for a drink though. As he kneels down next to a pond, he reaches in and then yells that they've got to be kidding. He takes a closer look, and in the water's reflection, he sees somebody else looking back at him. He motions, and the reflection mimics, and he asks, am I a caveman? Am I inside of a caveman? This is new and it's very... But before he could finish, an alligator leans up out of the water, snapping at him. Wally jumps back using his powers and says, well, at least he's got those going for him. However, when he runs, he notices that he isn't quite that fast. At least not fast enough to jump through the barrier. But before he could even slow down, a raptor jumps out at him faster than one should ever be. It's a Speed Force raptor. Back at the present, Green Arrow asks how is this thing supposed to work again? He isn't really as smart as them. How are they going to project a message into the Speed Force? Mr. Terrific says that they are basically reversing the imaging processors in his T-spheres to project Flash's voice via tachyon waves into the Speed Force. Theoretically, it should be like a telephone signal, and if Wally, if he's in the Speed Force, should act as the receiver. Green Arrow says, well, heck, let's get this party started. Ready, Dr. Frankenstein? Flash nods, and Mr. Terrific activates the machine with Flash calling out to Wally, asking if he can hear them. Back in the past, Wally holds the raptor back, stating that these things are so much cooler in the movies. And as he manages to throw the dinosaur off, he can hear something calling out to him. But before he could try and listen, the Speed Force energy starts to spark up around the raptor, and Wally asks, wait, is that supposed to happen? Suddenly, the raptor bolts forward, with Wally narrowly jumping out of the way, asking, is it a Speed Force raptor? As he runs away, he can hear the Flash calling out to him, asking, is what? Where? Flash yells, it worked! And Wally goes on stating, are you talking to me in my head? Flash tells him that there's no time. They're working on a way to get him out of the Speed Force like last time, but Wally says, actually, it's a new thing. I'm not in the Speed Force. I'm somewhere in the Jurassic Park era. Flash is stunned. The 90s? And Wally yells, no, the one with the actual dinosaurs. There's literally a velociraptor chasing me, which, by the way, has Speed Force powers. Flash tells him, I don't understand, and Wally tells him, that makes two of us, and this isn't even the weirdest part. There may be a possibility that I took over some caveman's consciousness, so whatever it is that you're doing back there, do it fast, guys. After getting a lead on the raptor, Wally hides in a bush stating, okay, you've got a theory as to why this has happened, and you better give me the short version. Flash tells him, well, we think that you got swept up in the surge of Speed Force energy that catapulted your consciousness into an open conduit for power somewhere along the timeline. Wally asks why him though, and Flash tells him, because you have the strongest connection to the Speed Force. Our working theory is that it might be using you to fix whatever is going wrong with it. The only issue is that we don't know what's wrong with it. Wally sighs. That's wonderful. But before he could finish the sentence, the raptor creeps into the bushes and the two of them take off once again running. Except this time, Wally sees the raptor stop. Flash asks him what's wrong, and Wally tells him that the Speed Raptor is shaking, like Shakira, which I'm pretty sure it isn't supposed to be doing. Just then, the Speed Force energy in the raptor begins to build up, and Wally starts running, stating, oh, that can't be good. As the energy begins to erupt, creating a massive explosion, Wally is only barely able to stay ahead of it. Flash begins to yell, just run! But before long, Wally is swallowed by the blast. He blinks, looking around, and he says that he sees that he is now somewhere else, wearing something else. Flash asks him what happened, where is he, and Wally says, yeah, about that, I have no idea. I could be in the future, or space, or future space. Yeah, I have no clue. Flash tells him to look around. Does he see anything Thanagarian, Ronian? Wally turns to the glass reflection of himself and says, oh, no, never mind, I'm in the future. I'm in Bart's body. Let's just say his costume is snug. Flash yells, that's great. That era has time-traveling devices. We can use them to get you back so we can figure out what's going on. Wally responds with, great, just give me a few moments. And Flash asks him, what's wrong? Wally looks back at the looming shadow over him and says, well, that's new. And a giant alien reaches for Wally with Gold Beetle shouting, what are you doing? Run! As Barry Allen, aka The Flash, reaches out from underneath the computer, he asks Green Arrow to hand him the multimeter. Mr. Terrific says that the thermocouplers are attached, T-spheres are ready, and Green Arrow hands the Flash the multimeter and asks, so what are we doing again? Flash runs out of the computer, stating that Wally has somehow been swept away by the Speed Force, and he's been thrown into another Speed Force conduit, which is how Mr. Terrific and he found Wally in the first place. If they can get an audio signal out, they're guessing that they can get a visual one to Wally. Green Arrow says, right. So how did you suddenly get your speed powers again, Barry? Because you lost them when you were trying to help Wally. And Flash says, well, I didn't get them back precisely. After the Speed Force dinosaur exploded, I felt my connection to the Speed Force re-emerge. It's not strong, but I'll take what I can get. Mr. Terrific then says that Wally has really been converted into pure Speed Force energy. This should catch that energy and transmit back the visual cues from the host that he is currently inhabiting, aka Impulse. Green Arrow then tries to understand all of this. So, like a TV. And Mr. Terrific tells them that that is a terrible oversimplification of what they're doing, but in concept, yes. Flash flips the switch and says, let's just see if this works, and Wally can be heard. Well, that's new. Flash asks him what's new, and Wally says, nothing. Meanwhile, in the future, Gold Beetle runs towards him yelling, Impulse, run! And as Gold Beetle tackles who she thinks is Impulse, Wally asks, what's with the giant hand? And Gold Beetle says, real funny, Bart! Whatever you did to that Dominator made it grow to the size of Gore Kong. Wally tries to run, but he notices that his speed powers aren't working, and he begins to yell out, what's wrong? Gold Beetle tells him that that would be the power dampener that the tall, ugly thing slapped on his neck. Luckily, once they get to the ground, they'll be able to remove it. So Wally shouts, by the time we hit the ground, we're gonna be dead! And Gold Beetle tells him, it's okay, go limp, it'll hurt less. Before Wally could even ask, the two fall into the gold bug, and Gold Beetle tells Beats that she appreciates the save. Flash asks if Wally's alright, and Wally tells him that he's fine, maybe? Once the two sit down, Gold Beetle says that she knows that he always says that a Flash runs towards danger, but whatever he did this time really bent the space-time continuum out of shape. Before he says, but, GB, this Dominator killed my dad. She gets it. But if they don't want to break the timeline again, he better be more careful. Flash asks who's speaking, and Wally says, I have no idea. So Flash says to Wally again, she looks like both of, you know. In any case, you might be better off on your own, Wally. We don't know. But Gold Beetle says, wait, who the heck is Wally? And Flash asks, wait, did you hear me? Gold Beetle laughs, of course I did. I just needed to adjust the head net settings that I got from the 853rd century to whatever wavelength Mr. Nasally is using. And Plaxo Naxo, I can hear everything you're saying. Wait a minute. Holy crack noise. Wally, as in Wally West? It's me, Gold Beetle, Queen of the Quantum Realm, Wave Rider Warrior, Tiara of Time, the... Wally stops her. Right, the blue and the gold. Time Traveler. It's, nice to meet you. Oh. Is this your first time meeting me? Wow, you said this would be dangerous, and hey, you were right, Wally, but you're the captain, so Wally stops her. Wait, Captain, we work together? You must be confused, because when I get home, I'm retiring. That is hilarious. You have like 5 more crises to get through. We've gone on loads of adventures, like galactic space races, but just then, Beats tells her that she should probably remember the time rules and not divulge too much information if this is his first time meeting her. She pauses. Yeah. But why are you inside of Impulse? Where's Impulse? Beats says that Bart's conscious self was probably sublimated when Wally was transferred inside. There are no tachyon particles, so this isn't the time travel. Flash stops. Okay, we think the Speed Force is, well, hurt, and it might be using Wally to fix it, Gold Beetle. Gold Beetle thinks for a moment. Okay, I have an idea. Beats, access 30 seconds pre-point of coronal disturbance without outlying chamber. A screen pops up showing Impulse being ambushed by the Dominator when suddenly he releases a burst of Speed Force energy. Wally says that the Speed Force looks for conduits at their weakest point. It's like a leak in the fuel line causing fuel pressure to drop. That looks like what's happening when Impulse has the power dampener put on him. Flash says that would explain it. After they sealed the last leak, he could feel his powers returning as if the Speed Force was regaining its equilibrium. Gold Beetle interrupts everyone. Well, whatever it is, that must be what infected the Dominator and caused it to enter super bulk phase. Mr. Terrific stares at the visuals. The dinosaur gained super speed and the Dominator increased in size. Obviously, the Speed Force affects various physiologies differently. Flash stops him. Well, it would seem that that's the case, Mr. Terrific. But I'm worried about what happened to the dinosaur could happen to the Dominator, and it could cause a massive explosion. If we don't find a way to siphon off this energy, Wally asks, what about the device that Inertia tried to use? Do they still have that? The thing that Inertia tried to use to defeat Impulse. Flash stops him. Well, yeah, it's in the Speed Force lab. So Wally tells him that maybe if they put it in the time capsule, they could, and Gold Beetle asks, steal? I love heists. Best thing in the multiverse outside of Chacos. The one thing your era got right. Wally tells her that they aren't really stealing, could they just go to the Flash Museum? One short flight later, Gold Beetle says that there she is. The Flash Museum, the repository for all things Flash, including that doohickey that you were just talking about. One problem is that the museum is now designed specifically to keep speedsters out, since the only type of villains that attempt to break in are, well, that, as well as Bart. Wally says, okay, so how are we going to get in then? And Gold Beetle says the same way Bart has broken in 12 times, being impulsive. She flies her ship, crashing into the lobby, letting Wally out, and as he runs, he yells, "You are crazy!" And Gold Beetle asks, "Haha, crazy as a Targaryen fox!" A few seconds later, Wally returns with a bust of Jay Garrick, and Gold Beetle says, "You're just in time!" The two of them are then surrounded by several Flash androids telling them, "Halt, please remain until the authorities are alerted." Gold Beetle sighs, "Don't they know anything about speedsters? They can barely sit still." Wally, close your eyes. Wally does, asking, "What are you doing?" And suddenly there's a blinding light that begins to shine. All of the androids begin to state, "Ocular disruption, adjust settings, Corey missing, we have failed." Again. As the two begin to back off, Flash radios telling them, "Remember, do not turn on the device until I have placed it on the target. If we're right, it could siphon the Speed Force energy off, and then we'll be able to seal the leak." Wally asks what happens after that, and Flash goes on telling him, "We think that once it stops the leak, you'll be pulled to another conduit that's been weakened, provided that there are more leaks that need to be plugged." So wait, I'm gonna be bouncing from speedster to speedster until you stop all of the surges? Flash, is this Quantum Leap? Flash tells him that he was just swept away. The only thing that remained was his costume. Well, if his costume maintained its structure and his physical form disappeared, Mr. Terrific interrupts. "We're afraid that your consciousness is now non-corporeal." Wally realizes what this means. "Wait, I'm a ghost?" And Mr. Terrific says, "You're an energy being looking for a receptacle. All we have to do is..." Wally shouts, "I am not going to become an android. Do you know what my wife is going to do to me if she finds out? I might as well be a ghost because she's going to kill me. And for now, work on getting me my body back. I'm currently coming up on the target. You know what to do, right, Gold Beetle?" She yells, "Yup, be impulsive!" And she flies the gold bug directly into the Dominator's head. Wally jumps out, running up to the Dominator's mouth, stating, "It's all up to you, Wally West. Pitching for the Central City Diamonds. Hoping for a perfect game." He winds up, "Here comes the pitch!" He throws the device into the Dominator's mouth, and the Dominator swallows, and within seconds, it begins to shrink. As Wally leaves it back onto the gold bug, Gold Beetle watches the news feeds of the Dominator being captured, stating that that's another win for the good guys. Flash then says that with the leak closed, Wally will be pulled back into the Speed Force stream. And Gold Beetle, that device that was inside of the Dominator, she'll need it back and she'll need to dispose of it. She laughs, "Of course I will. I will absolutely dispose of this thing." Wally laughs at her, and then suddenly he feels something, and Flash says that they are getting some strange readings. Wally tells him that it's working. He's starting to be pulled back, but before going, Gold Beetle jumps up, hugging him. Thanks. I'm really gonna miss you. And when I do meet you for the real first time, don't do the thing with the stun discs, okay? Wally smiles. Sure? Gold Beetle tells him that if he needs anything, just, cause a temporal disturbance. Wally pauses and thinks for a moment and then whispers something in her ear. And she tells him, yeah, she's got it. But as she holds Impulse, he asks, what's going on? I said before, I totally won't break time again. She continues hugging him, telling him, shh, she's having a moment. And a few moments later, Wally begins to blink and Flash asks what happened, where did he go? But all Flash can hear is Adolf Hitler yelling, the American Übermenschen has been captured. The Spear of Destiny belongs to the Third Reich. It was the 1940s as Happy Terrell, the man known as Ray, quietly sits in the waiting room. In a sudden flash, Jay Garrick sits beside him and Ray says he didn't even see him there. Jay laughs, telling him that he gets that a lot. Been waiting long? And Ray glares, telling him 40 minutes. Jay says, really? Sorry about that. My name is Jay Garrick, and you are? Jay reaches out to shake his hand, and Ray doesn't move, stating, Happy Terrell. Jay laughs again, telling him that's great. But as Ray doesn't follow up, Jay says, oh, you were being serious. At that moment, a woman walks in, telling them that the president will see them now. And once inside, the president says, gentlemen, would you like to end this war? Later that night, over the Philippines, Ray says that he has heard a lot about the famous Flash. There are a lot of stories about him. Jay gets his bag ready and tells him that he wishes that he could say the same about him. He's worked with a few masked men before. How has he never heard of the Ray? Ray tells him that the president likes to keep what he does in the dark, which is ironic. Once the two get ready, they jump onto the plane and they make landfall with Jay laughing, asking, can you believe it? We're looking for the Spear of Destiny, the same one that pierced the side of Christ while he was on the cross. They say that whoever wields it will control the world. Can you believe it? And Ray tells him, no, I don't. So Jay tells him, oh, a non-believer. What do you think it is then? Ray tells him that it's something that Hitler wants, and that's the only reason he needs to stop him from getting it. The two move out to the location, and they find some quiet ruins where the intel says the spear is. As they quietly sneak in, Jay asks, what is this place? But just then there's a sudden flash as the lights come on and they feel their powers disappear. While they look at each other, a man is holding up the spear, telling them that if they are wondering about their powers, it would be my fault. My name is Otto Frenz, and it would seem that your government calls me Parsifal. So as you can see, your powers are useless, which ironically is my gift. And now it isn't just one weapon I will be returning to the motherland. It is 3! Jay shouts that he'll never get away with this, and Parsifal laughs as the two are subdued, telling them that their friends won't be coming from the Philippines. They have no idea where to even go! As the two are thrown into the brig of a German cruiser, they're beaten mercilessly for weeks. But if there was one thing that Ray could count on, it was Jay's belief that they would make it out alive somehow. However, during the 5th straight week, it was Jay who was beginning to fade. Ray stared as Jay hung lifelessly, praying to God that if he does in fact exist, that they need his help more than anything. Just then, there's a sudden crack of lightning in Jay's body, breaking the chain, suspending them in the air. What Ray doesn't know is that bolt of lightning that struck Jay was actually Wally West coming in from the Speed Force, entering this dimension, this timeline. Wally's eyes shoot open and Ray asks, you okay now, Jay? Wally asks, Jay? And then he sees himself in the window's reflection touching his face. Oh man, Jay was old back then. Wally turns back asking if the blast of lightning just flew out of his chest, because if so, they need to be wherever it went. So the two sneak through the ship when they look through the window and suddenly see Hitler holding the Spear of Destiny, shouting that he has been blessed by God. He is the Ubermensch! Wally looks at the lightning swirling around, telling him, oh, Hitler got powers from the lightning. Guess that solves where the lightning went. Wally looks to Ray. We have to hurry. We need weapons to get information on anything related to the Spear of Destiny. And as Wally begins to navigate the ship like he knows it, Ray asks, how do you know where to go? Wally tells him not to worry. Mr. Terrific, where's the next turn? Wally finishes putting on his German soldier uniform with Ray asking why do they need to do this? And Wally tells him to trust him. If they don't do something now, Hitler's going to explode with the Speed Force energy that has been absorbed into him and take out half of the hemisphere. Out on the docks, Hitler holds the spear, stating, I am the chosen one! A worthy enough man to wield the spear. God has found me! Behind the barrels, Ray looks out asking, can we really just not shoot him? And Wally says he doesn't know. Maybe? Can we? And Ray asks, I'm asking you! Hitler begins to board a plane with Wally stating that they need to hurry, but as they stand up, the other soldiers begin to shoot at them. They run towards the water and Ray asks if this is going to work, with Wally telling him that he just needs a little faith. Ray changes costume, scooping up Wally, flying into the sky, and Wally laughs, who's the Ubermensch now, suckers? Ray then asks, okay, when we get close, what's the plan? And Wally says that once they get into the no-fly zone, they will. But just then, Ray's powers fade and the two begin to plummet down towards the plane. Wally grabs his gun and begins to shoot holes in a circle so that when the two land, they crash through into the cargo. And they see Hitler holding the spear. Hitler shouts, asking, do you think you could stop me? I am the Führer! As Hitler begins to use the spear, Ray can feel his body not listening to his commands. And for Wally, there's a spark, and for a moment, Jay wakes up asking, where am I? Hitler says, I rule the world! And Jay races forward, punching Hitler, yelling, not on my watch. During that split second, Ray hits Parsifal to break his hold, and then there's a second spark as Wally returns to Jay's body. That was weird. The spear! We gotta get it before he blows! Hitler loudly laughs that he can feel the power growing. It's growing! Ray lunges in, grabbing the spear, and as Hitler explodes, Ray puts up a shield to protect both him and Wally. A short while later, Wally wakes up asking, did we do it? And Ray flies up holding Wally, telling him that he's not so sure. He was knocked out too, but when they woke up, he was falling. There's no sign of Hitler or Fritz. Wally says that if there's no bodies, they might still be out there. And he missed his chance to punch Hitler. But soon Wally begins to feel the pull of the Speed Force as it is yanking him out of this timeline to move him somewhere else to repair the broken Speed Force, and he tells Ray to get him to a hospital. Ray tells him of course, but as Wally closes his eyes, Ray asks if he's okay. Jay! And as Jay wakes up, he says that he had this really weird dream. There was Hitler and, whatever you do, don't let me go. Ray laughs, telling him that he won't. Just need to have a little faith. Over the comms, Barry begins to yell into Wally's ear, asking, where are you now? Wally blinks as he is surrounded by Lex and his Legion as they begin to vote. Lex yells out, all in favor of admitting Reverse Flash into the Legion of Doom, say evil! Wally says, evil? Oh no. As the final crackles of lightning die down, Wally finds himself in the body of Eobard Thawne in the middle of the Legion of Doom headquarters and a dead Superman on the floor. Wally looks around. Guys, I might have just done something terrible. Cheetah laughs, telling him that it would seem that he's trying to prove why he's deserving to be in the Legion of Doom. Well, this kitten doesn't need to see anything else. Shall we take a vote? Meanwhile, back in the current time, Barry tells Wally to just relax. He's watching everything, and he needs Wally to not freak out. The mission is the same. Find the surge that is damaging the Speed Force, drain it, and come back. Green Arrow tells him, I don't get it. How long has Wally been gone? Shouldn't the Speed Force, release him already? Mr. Terrific says, I agree. Something is wrong. Barry thinks for a moment and then yells, that's it! Wally is somewhere in the Omniverse. He has an infinite number of conduits to jump to. Green Arrow says that if that's true, that means that Wally might not ever make it home. Back in the alternate reality, everyone on board shouts, evil! In favor of allowing Reverse Flash to join their ranks. Wally quietly looks around. Right, thanks guys. Cheetah tells him, no, thank you. We didn't think it was possible, but you turned a little boy Blue into a harmless chew toy. Lex Luthor stops. Wait a minute. Something's not right. How did you do it? A random lightning bolt that exploded out of his chest? A power that if you had, Reverse Flash didn't put onto his application. So tell everyone, what else are you hiding? Wally thinks for a moment and says, well, I'm not hiding anything. If I could tell you everything that I could do, you could use that against me. And knowing you, Lex Luthor, you probably have a file on everyone here. Everyone looks at Lex and he tells them, that is not true. And Cheetah says, oh, I can smell a lie, Lex. Lex asks her, how? You can't smell if someone's lying. But while all the supervillains begin to argue, Wally begins to sneak away when somebody clears their throat and everyone stops. Superman flies up stating he doesn't know what they tried to do, but it didn't work. Wally begins to run, but as he runs into the next room, he finds himself in a large open room, and on the other side of the window is the infinite void of space. Pretty cliche, huh? The Legion of Doom is up in space? Superman then bursts through the ground, stating, give it up before anyone else gets hurt. And Wally goes, wait! The energy running through your body, it's volatile. We need to find a way to drain it before it explodes. Superman laughs. How exactly are you going to do that? Use the same power dampening ray that Luthor made to get me here in order to siphon it off? This S on my chest doesn't stand for stupid, pal. Wally asks, wait, Luthor did what? But Barry tells them that they need to find out how Lex drained Superman's power before, so that they can use it to drain the Surge. Wally thinks to himself that he just needs to find Lex. Never mind. Outside, Lex shoots through the glass with his kryptonite laser, stunning Superman, but as Wally is being sucked into space, he latches onto Lex's ship. He vibrates through it before Lex can get ready to kill Superman, telling him, wait, how did you drain Superman's power before? Lex tells him, that is proprietary information. I can't just... Wally then begins to slap him at supersonic speeds, and when he finally stops, Lex stares stunned and then points to the green button on the right of the steering column. Wally hits Superman with the power dampening ray, with Barry asking if it worked. As the explosion goes off, Wally tells him, yep, he can feel himself being pulled away. Lex jumps out of his seat shouting that he just absorbed too much energy. The ship is going to explode! Wally laughs, fine, you know what? I'll let you have it. Give me your best shot. I won't even move. As Wally is taken away, Eobard sees the oncoming punch, asking, wait, what? From there, Wally continued to drain the Speed Force surges one timeline at a time. Back in the Old West, Titan's Academy, the Justice Society, and some fight with a wizard? Finally, Wally stops in San Francisco, sitting in a cafe. Before he could even guess where he's at, the woman before him says, hey, Dad. Yes, I know you just got flung into the Speed Force, tossed through time, landing in various speedsters' bodies to stop the Speed Force surge from infecting and detonating anyone that it hits. Of course, there's more to that story, but we're not there yet. Wally looks at his own daughter. Iray tells him, yeah, don't worry, you landed in Jai's body. Thank goodness. About 20 years in the future. Wally looks at himself in the mirror. What about the surge? But Iray reaches over, telling him that Jai had his power dampener on. It went from him to another, and she absorbed it all, with hardly anyone noticing. Turns out she might be stronger in the Speed Force than he is, or anyone for that matter. She'll slowly release the energy, which gives them a few minutes before he has to go. Wally then asks, how did you know? And Iray says that he used to tell them this story every night before they went to bed. The stuff with the speed dinosaur was always their favorite. Wally gets up hugging her. You're so beautiful and tall. And most importantly, you're okay. His daughter looks up at him. Yes, yeah, I'm okay. As the two sit back down, Wally says that this is a dream come true. To know his daughter is alive and well and... Wait, is that a ring? She pulls her hand back. Yeah, I forgot to take it off. Yeah, I'm married. He's great. You hate him, though. Wally starts patting himself, asking, wait, what about Jai? Is he married? She lets out a loud, ha! No. Probably be careful with what I say because of the whole time continuum thing, but Jai is dating a girl. Oh, she's a bit of a time traveler. They work together from time to time, actually. Wally smiles. I may have already met her, but really, it's good to see you. You have no idea how much me and your mom worry about the two of you. Looks like I made the right choice retiring from being a hero. She spits out her coffee, laughing. Retired? For hearing? Oh, hey, that's our cue. A bolt of lightning strikes and Iray changes into her speedster costume. Ta-da! With Wally stating, wait, no, you're a superhero? But I quit! I didn't want this for you. She says that it isn't just her, and she points to Jai. You did keep us safe. You also taught us how to use our powers for good. You taught us how being a hero is doing the right thing no matter what. You didn't just teach us how to survive. You taught us how to thrive. Iray opens up a portal telling him to come on. She needs to show him something, and after yanking Wally out of his seat, Iray runs through space asking if he can see it. The Flash family has done all right for themselves. Wally looks ahead seeing a bright light with the Flash lightning bolt on it, asking what is it? And Iray tells him that he'll find out soon enough, but it's almost time for him to go, and before that, she has to tell him that he is a great dad, the best. The only thing that he might have been better at is being a superhero. However, what happens next is going to be hard, but trust me when I say that you're going to get through it. Put one foot in front of the other. Uncle Barry, I'm about to close off the conduit. If you're going to send a burst through the Speed Force, now's the time. Barry says that they're ready, but Wally says that he can't just go yet. And Iray tells him, it's okay. We have our whole lives ahead of us. I'll see you in the future, Dad. Suddenly, Wally is pulled back again, and when he opens his eyes, finds himself in a field. The field outside of Sanctuary. What Wally is looking at begins to sink in, and the only thing that Wally can mutter as he realizes where he is, no. Barry yells, asking what happened, and Wally says that it worked. I'm at Sanctuary. I'm at the moment when the explosion that went off, the one that killed everyone. It wasn't me. Barry, it was the surge! It wasn't me! Barry says he knows that this is hard, but does he see it? Does he see whatever was in the Speed Force that came out at this point? And Wally stands up looking at everyone suspended in time. There's a dome of Speed Force. Maybe. It seems like it's moving towards something in the field, but everyone is frozen. Maybe I can... Barry shouts, no! The temporal bubble is fragile. A point of frozen time if you disturb it. But Wally tells him, but if the explosion continues, they will die. There has to be a way to save everyone, Barry. We need to. Before Wally could finish the sentence, a voice calls out to him and he looks over to see Roy Harper getting up. What the hell happened, buddy? Wally runs over hugging him and Roy says, I just saw you run out and I thought something was wrong. Are you okay, Wally? Wait, why is everyone... Okay, I'm starting to freak out. Like when Batman found out that Dick borrowed his car, freaked out. What's going on? Wally looks right at Roy. I killed you. I killed all of you. I thought I lost control. I did lose control. All this time, I thought it was my fault that I killed everyone. Of course this is where I would end up. Roy tells him, no offense, but you sound kind of nuts right now. Back in the current time period, Green Arrow asks, wait, is that Roy? And Barry says that this is going to be hard to say, but all of this happened. They're just experiencing it again. There's nothing that they can do. Roy still has to die. Green Arrow turns back shouting, what do you mean there's nothing we can do? Send Booster Gold! Call those linear guys! This is our chance to save my boy, Barry! Barry tells him that he understands the feeling, believe him. He went back in time, he changed it. And that small alteration almost destroyed the world. But then the computer begins to beep wildly and Mr. Terrific says that he is getting some unusual readings from the Speed Force. Barry goes to run over, but he stops for a moment and says that his powers, they're fading. Meanwhile, back in the past, at Sanctuary, at the moment that everything changed for Wally West, he tells Roy that they have both been through a lot. Sidekicks, Titans, the League. And what he is about to say is going to sound crazy, but it's the truth. This moment is in my past. When I was here, before, I ran out of Sanctuary because I was having a panic attack. I tried to get away from the house, but you all followed, and this surge, it exploded out of me, and Roy, I killed everyone. That's where we are. We're in that moment, my weakest moment. I don't know, but Barry, Ollie, Mr. Terrific, they're all in the present, trying to make sense of all of this. No one knows why, but the Speed Force has been using me to help dislodge whatever is in it, whatever is causing all these problems, whatever is traveling through time, creating surges. The energy creates explosions. It hurts people, it damages things, and it kills everyone. It's getting worse, so we figured out a way to slow time like a time bubble. Roy then says that it would mean that if the bubble pops, everything that he said is going to happen. Well, Wally tells him not to worry about it. They'll figure it out. It's like he always said, don't leave before the miracle happens. Roy looks back at the Speed Force bubble asking, is it me or does it look like it's moving towards something? At that moment, a black cloud of smoke begins to form and a figure walks through with a scruff voice. So that is how it was able to push me out. Using one of its former slaves to do its bidding. But I am no slave. I am the Speed Force's master, the chosen one. I am the one who was foretold to become one with this great power, whether it wants it or not, for I have returned. Savitar will have his revenge. Roy looks at the man asking who is Savitar. And Wally says that he's a crazed speedster who wants to become one with the Speed Force, but they thought that he was dead. Savitar begins to bring forth with him a Speed Force storm, stating that he has left its womb prematurely. But he still draws its sustenance. What it is will be his. Barry calls out that whatever Savitar is doing, it's affecting the present. He can feel his power draining, and Wally tells him not to worry, I've got it. But as Wally goes into attack, Savitar grabs him by the face, slamming him into the ground. Savitar leans down asking, do you think you can replace me as the heir to the Speed Force? It's too late for that! The Speed Force does my bidding, West. Roy then yells, calling attention to himself, but as Savitar looks up, Roy lets loose an arrow, telling him, leave my friend alone! Savitar easily catches it, telling him, you're going to need to try harder. But before he could finish, the arrow explodes, knocking Savitar away. Roy hurries over to help Wally up, but Wally says that it's that type of saving his butt that he misses. And Roy says that the Gingers have to stick together. So what's the word? Wally tells him that Savitar is vacuuming up all the Speed Force. If they don't stop him, well, Titans together? Yeah, Titans together, Wally. Before they could even stand up, Savitar begins to rip apart the ground, telling Wally, you may have been formidable, but no longer. I am the Speed Force, and to think all of this started from a small spark. But I awoke to find myself in a dark prison. I could hear others in the back, some pleading, some crying, peasants, one and all. I knew that I had but one option. After years of trying to access the Speed Force, it finally happened. A spark. Hope that I could leave. Hope for revenge. I have ascended, floating inside the most powerful force of all of the multiverse. It tried to stop me. It sent surge after surge to expel me from its corridors. But I have created an unshakable connection, a bond. And slowly I have absorbed what it is to become, what I shall be. But then you appeared, an interloper, here to steal what is rightfully mine. Barry radios back stating that they have one shot at this. If he can re-enter the Speed Force, he has to vibrate his molecules, ride the wave of tachyon particles to its source. Wally asks what about his body, and Barry says that they think that Wally will reorganize into matter once he passes through the portal. And Wally responds, wait, you think? Roy then says, what you said about before, about killing us? I know the Wally that I know would never do that, okay? If the Speed Force causes an explosion to get rid of this guy, I have to imagine that he's pretty dangerous. And that means that we died in the line of duty. And that happens. It's part of the job. It's part of being a hero. And you know what? I wouldn't trade a day of it. Wally tells him no. I lived with this guilt for too long. I told Barry that I can't do it anymore, that I can't lose another friend. And Roy tells him, come on, man. We're never really gone, whether in memory or some cosmic hiccup. As I said, don't leave before the miracle happens, because it could happen tomorrow. But tomorrow, it may not be there if people like us give up. Do me a favor and drop that rock of guilt that you've been carrying around. You'll run faster. But there's one thing. Ollie, can he see and hear me? Wally nods, and the green arrow looks through Wally's eyes. Ollie, I love you. You were always there for me. You taught me to fight for what's right, even if it costs us everything to do it. You gave me something to live for. You gave me hope. You were a great dad. So no blaming anyone, okay? If I didn't do what I could to save the world, what kind of sidekick would I be? I only ever wanted to make you proud. And with one final smile, Roy turns back to the bubble, and he fires an explosive arrow, disrupting the time freeze. Wally tries to yell for him to wait, but Roy gives him a nod, and he tells him, I'll see you around, Wally. The Speed Force bubble bursts, causing the storm to fade and the events to unfold as they did in Heroes in Crisis. And as Roy falls back to the ground, he looks up. I love you, Leanne. The Speed Force surge explodes, taking all of the heroes of Sanctuary with them, killing each and every one of them. And in the present, Green Arrow screams for his son. He screams for Roy. He watches him die again. Mr. Terrific yells that Wally is back in the Speed Force, and if they want him here, now's the time. Barry, configure the portal for Wally's re-entry. It should reintegrate his molecules as he passes through. At that moment, Superman and Batman appear, stating that they heard the distress call. What's going on? Barry tells them that his name is Savitar, an evil speedster who's been soaking up the Speed Force. And they're going to need his help. Mr. Terrific sets the computer so that he'll be opening the temporal space in 5, 4, 3, and as the portal opens, Wally and Savitar come out fighting. But Savitar manages to throw Wally down. Superman lunges in, telling him, we don't have to do this. And as he punches, Savitar dodges every swing, launching Superman across the lab. I am one with the Speed Force! Green Arrow begins to launch dozens of arrows, shouting, it's your fault that Roy is... But Savitar dodges back and forth, knocking everyone out, leaving Barry to help Wally. Barry shakes him awake, telling him, we have to find a way to disconnect Savitar from the Speed Force. But I can't do it, my powers! Savitar has taken too much of it. It's up to you. What do you say, Flash? Barry holds out his ring and Savitar shouts, you! It was you that sent me there! To that prison! Savitar begins to crush Barry's neck, and then a red blur shoots by, forcing Savitar to let go. He groans, oh, I tire of these games! After I drained the Speed Force of all of its power, I will return. But Wally stands up wearing Barry's costume, telling him, no, you're not going anywhere. Savitar laughs, look at you! You can barely stand. Ending you would be a kindness. And Wally tells him, I wondered why the Speed Force swept me up and sent me through time and space. Why it chose me? What I realized is that everywhere that it took me was where I needed to be. Showing me what being a Flash is all about. Outrunning danger, being impulsive, having faith, holding the line. Most of all, it reminded me of who I was a hero. And if I was in the right place at the right time before, then I'm betting that right here, right now, I have a very particular reason for being here. Savitar looks at him. Oh, really? And what is that? What is your reason? Wally smiles. To be the fastest man alive. At that moment, there's a surge of speed force energy that passes through Wally, and he jets forward, punching Savitar so fast that the two go flying out of the lab. Wally looks at him. What's wrong? You're looking kinda slow. After one more punch, Savitar is knocked back, and he yells, So what if you found my raw connection to the speed force? It doesn't mean anything! Wally looks at him and smirks. It doesn't? Okay. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a 3-second head start, and then I'll show you how much it means. Savitar gets up and he begins to run, and Wally counts down from 3, and when he says 1, he rockets off right behind Savitar. Savitar yells, No, this cannot be, but Wally laughs. Yes! And then he hits him from behind. Savitar skids to a stop, asking, What happened to my powers? And Wally tells him they're gone. You were wrong. The Speed Force didn't choose you. You were an annoying kidney stone waiting to be passed. This might hurt your feelings, but the Speed Force, it chose me, the Flash. I'm the antibody tasked with getting rid of the invader. And guess what? Mission accomplished. Savitar glares back, asking, Do you think that this is going to stop me? I will have my revenge. I will. But a Speed Force portal opens up, pulling Savitar in as he yells, No! I don't want to go back to the darkness! When Savitar is locked away, back in the Speed Lab, Barry tells Wally that he gets it now. He was right. This line of work is dangerous, maybe retiring isn't so bad. But Wally laughs, telling him that he was wrong. If anything, this little trip through the Flash's history showed him how important it is to keep your super sneakers on. Tragedy is a part of life. But the thing that he realized is that in your weakest moment, there's always a bit of hope. If he stops running, stops being the Flash, if he's given that up, and he's not going to stop being a hero, especially knowing how many people need him to be a Flash. We all good, Mr. Terrific? Mr. Terrific tells him, well, not exactly. We need to run more tests, but the surge of Speed Force that went through you hypercharged you, and well, it's still there. Wally asks, what does that mean? And Barry says that he has access to that surge of energy, sort of like a nitro boost. Wally tells him, awesome, and Barry tells him, no, not awesome. We don't even know if your body can handle that much speed. Wally laughs, telling them that they're going to figure it out, and then Green Arrow walks up, telling him, hey, a lot can happen in a blink of an eye. You can lose everything, your name, your reputation, but they can be replaced with determination, strength, empathy, faith, a renewed sense of how blessed you are to just be alive, to have people who love you, who care for you. That only happens if you don't leave before the miracle, when you realize that tomorrow is a new day, that tomorrow brings hope, and hope is where we find redemption. My name is Wally West, and I am the Flash. And there you guys have it, the conclusion to the 5-issue return of Wally West to the Flash comic books. Honestly, this kind of redeems Sanctuary and Heroes in Crisis in my eyes, because that storyline ruined the character of Wally West, but going full circle now, traveling through time, getting his kids back, and then coming over here and discovering that it was all to give him hope is great. And honestly, I love the message at the end of this 5-issue series that even at your lowest point, you can get out of it. You can have hope. You can find a way through it. It's a great message to have. Now, for those of you who are going to leave the comments down below, yes, we did cover portions of this story, 768 and 769 and 771, a while ago. But when we stopped doing those compilation issues, I did say we were going to make the full versions, the normal versions of our videos, which is what this is. Which is why it also may sound a little off when we go to 770 and the finale, because I was recording those at completely different times. But then again, all of this was recorded at different times. I hope you guys don't mind. I hope it wasn't too bad for you. Either way, thank you so much for your time. And if you do enjoy these videos, you like what we did here, please consider liking, subscribing, and sticking around, because I will be here for a very long time to come. I've been given hope by the Flash.